If the voice sounds a little bit crappy, it's because I am currently suffering from the absolute cold from fucking hell. Turns out that's why I've got the whole vapor's tongue thing. It was the beginnings of a cold, and it's just starting to hit this weekend. Yeah, you'll need to suffer the dodgy voice. I was gonna put this review off, but these guys have been waiting for this review for about a month now, because I think I was one of the first people they sent this to, and I did say to them there's a bloody long queue because of the juice reviews, but I'm finally getting round to it. Kits, starter kits. Well, can you call this a starter kit? I don't know. It's a kit. I wouldn't class it as a starter kit. It's a little bit too advanced for that, but kits have been popping up quite a lot. When it comes to the e-cigarette world, you've been seeing it more and more, and you can thank companies like Joytech for doing this. Joytech with the eVic VTC Mini, which shipped originally as a kit. You could not buy the box mod separately, but when Joytech shipped out that eVic VTC Mini with the Eagle 1 Mega Tank on top of it, that's kind of when it started to kick off. You had the Target kit, which was the Target 75 watt box mod, and the Target tank with those really cool C-cell coils that are very nice, and that kind of started to progress on. What we're looking at today is the latest in an iteration of relatively inexpensive box mod kits. This is the Yosta. Is it Livepor or Livepor? I think it's Livepor. There's an E in there. There's an E in there, so I'm gonna call this the Livepor. Yeah. So we're looking at the Livepor 80 VTC from Yosta. I hope my voice doesn't break when I do this. Hardware review! Oh, that sounded awful. So, we're looking at the Yosta Livepor 80 watt variable temp control box mod. Pretty plain packaging we've got here. You've got a picture of the box mod in the front. You've got Livepor. I keep calling this Livepor. It's not Livepor, it's Livepor. Yosta's logo there, Livepor there, and Yosta's logo there with a bit of info on the back of the box about what you actually get. And it comes in various colours as well. I've got the black one, which is the one I asked for. Yeah, it comes in white, it comes in Tiffany blue, and it comes in a claret red, whatever that means. It's a red that's in claret tones, I suppose. So we'll pop this box open. You've got the pretty damn... I love this mod. I mean, this thing is... We'll go into the mod later on. You've got the mod there. You've got the tank here. You've also got a spare coil in here. I'm going to pop that coil to one side so we can have a look at it, because the coil that was originally in the tank is all gunked up to hell because I've obviously been using this for a little bit. You've got your instruction manual sitting there, folks. You've got your info about the ceramic coil. Now, yeah, we'll go on to that as well. There's a lot of interesting things going on with this tank, which is why I'm saying it's not really a starter kit. It's not really a starter kit, it's more of a kit for kind of advanced users. Here's your warranty card. You've got a whole boatload of spares sitting in here. Spare coil head again, as you can see. You've got your charge cable, little blue screwdriver, bunch of spare O-rings, another spare ring here with a pink band. Seriously, vape bands. Just loads and loads of spares. And then you've got this little fella. Let's pop this out. Which is a 5-pack. And it's actually pre-cut strips as well. It's a 5-pack of pre-cut strips of Japanese cotton. And these have been cut to a specific size, all because of the actual coil head, which is actually this coil head sitting here, right? We'll have a closer look at that when we actually get down to the actual coil heads themselves to see how they actually perform. So we'll chuck all this in here. chuck all that to one side and we'll have a look at the mod itself. So this is the Yosta Livepor 80. It's a rather thin but very tall mod. A little bit of info about this thing. Let's see, here we go. Output power, you're looking at 1 watt to 80 watts. Resistance range, now obviously this is including resistance range going down for temp control as well. Resistance range is 0.06 ohms up to 3 ohms. Temperature range is the usual spread, it's 100 to 300 degrees Celsius, and that is 200 to 600 Fahrenheit. Input voltage, that's for charging obviously, is 3 volts to 4.3 volts. Output voltage is 8.4 volts, and the max output current that this little fella can handle is 20 amps. So you need to make sure you've got a battery in here that can actually supply the full 20 amps. So it's a general basic spread of what you would expect for a single 18650 base battery box mod. Quick measurements on the mod itself. My voice is starting to go. I just hope it keeps going all the way through this review. Top to bottom, we are looking at 90.56 millimeters. It is tall. There's no getting around it. It's a tall mod. Front to back, from the control panel to the back, we are looking at bang on almost 35 millimeters. Side to side, we're looking at practically 23 millimeters for a visual reference of how big or tall this fella is. As always, Anakin MVP version 3, and as you can see, the Yosta is almost as tall, not quite there, but it's almost as tall as the Anakin MVP version 3. I'll get another tall bit of kit out. Here is the Cuboid Mini full kit. This is with the tank sitting on top as well, and there you go. It's not wide, but it's rather tall. They've managed to cut the size down side to side, but if you cut the size down this way, you're going to have to make up for it in height. So it's a tall mod, but it's not all that wide, if you get what I mean. It's very comfortable to hold in the hand. You can actually wrap your entire hand around it. So we're going to look at this from the top to bottom, isn't it? There we are. Vic is the 510 pence pin. There we go. It's the 510 pin spring mounted Vic. Why yes, it is. It's got a very, very short throw on the 510 pin, but as you can see, it is spring mounted and it is moving. Also, the 510 is not air fed. There is very, very, very small air channels going in. But the problem is when you put, and let's see if I can get this close up, can I? I should be able to. If you put a atomizer on top of this, and excuse the mess, I have been using this a lot. There we go. If you put an atomizer on top of this, even though there is air channels going into the 510, as you can see, when you put an atomizer onto this, it blocks off this entire plate. So it's basically still blocking off the air channels. And if you look here, there is an air channel that's grooved into this part. See it? There's an air channel coming in here, and it goes all the way around because basically it's following the curvature of the battery door. But the problem is they didn't cut the air channel in. So if you're putting an air-fed 510 in there, because the whole thing is recessed down, it's still going to block off the airflow for that 510 pin. So a little bit of a design issue going on with the 510 side of things there, I'm thinking. Looking at the body itself, you've got Livepor's logo there, plus a little bit of indentation for extra grip. We go round the body and you've got the battery door on this side, you've got Yosta's logo there, you've got the main control screen there, which is looking very messed up. That's better. You've got the main control screen sitting there, power up and down, charge ports down there, and at the base you've got the base with a crap load of venting sitting in there. Popping the battery in, it's just a simple case of getting your fingernail, pulling off the door, which is heavily magnetized. There's 4 magnets in this thing holding it in, and then it's just a simple case of popping in your battery. Now positive up this goes, negative down, positive up, there we go. Livepor 80. Then we just pop this back on. Quick look at the menus. It's a very simple menu system, well, simple-ish menu system that's in this. what we have here, and by the way, this screen might look scratched to hell, is because, hold on, I usually leave this on. See it? This is the protective peel. I usually leave those on. I like to leave those protective peels on because I've got a nasty habit of scratching screens all the damn time, so I like to leave those on, so this takes the brunt of the damage. But there's the menu. There's how the menu and screen looks. Big, clear, very big, clear lettering in this. Wattage reading there, power output mode there, voltage there, ohms there, and there's your battery. To get into the menu, you basically click the power button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. This is us in mode select, and then you go back out once you click on it. So it's simple. It's simply a case of doing 1, 2, 3. Mode select. You've got wattage mode. You've got temperature control for nickel, temperature control for titanium, temp control for stainless steel, AT lock, which locks the ohmage on the atomizer side, mech mode, which basically dumps the power from the battery straight to the 510, and then you're back to wattage mode, and that's it, folks. That is it. There's only one series of menus in this thing, because when you hit it again, you don't go into a second set of menus. You basically get chucked back to the beginning again. So, before we do the temp control test, what we're going to do, we're going to head up here. Yeah, my voice is starting to go. I can feel it. Damn, sodding colds. We're going to do a quick test on this on not temp control, wattage mode. This is the, is there enough juice in this? Yeah, there is. This is the Cloud Noose. You see, this has been designed for 22mm ATs, folks, because, yeah, look at that overhang. That's a lot of overhang. I don't have any smaller tanks here that I can... Actually, yes, I do. But we'll use the Cloud Noose first. Yeah, here we go. New coil, the usual stuff. So it's, yes, it's new. So I hit up. I'm not going to hit this at 80 watts. We're going to head down to 50. And see how the little thing performs. 50 watts. And we're off. It's a hell of a sweet, I can't taste it, but it's a hell of a sweet juice that's in this, and I can't remember what I had in this tank. It was definitely one of the fruity ones, judging by how sweet it is. There is nothing wrong with that vape, folks. Nothing wrong with it at all. Have I got anything sitting here that I can crank up to the full 80? This thing maybe. I've got a lot of 25mm ATs sitting in this table. Very few 22mm ones. I seem to be leaning more towards the big tanks lately. Have you noticed that? Look, massive overhang. I seem to be leaning a lot to the big tanks. Okay, let's open you up. And then we'll crank this fella up. La 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 la. Rather slow scrolling the screen as well. So you're sitting there waiting for a while. Full 80 watts, freshly charged batteries that will be putting out the 80 watts. Yes, it's a new coil. Here we go. Little bit warm for my liking. I usually run the aromomizer at 50 or 60 watts, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. Oh yeah, that's a warm vape. To me, it's feeling like it's hitting the full 80. Only one more test to do, folks, and then we'll head back down and do the temp control test, and that's how low can it possibly go. We're going to drag out my usual tank for this test, which is the SXK Corolla. And yes, I know they've brought out a 1.5 version of this, the updated model. I don't know if I'm getting one in. Hopefully I might be getting one in soon, depending on if Elegant Vapor gets them in stock. See, now it's a lot better. Look, now it's matching up perfectly with a 22mm AT. So, yes, new coil. Oh, it round robins. That's handy, it round robins. 12.5 watts as always. 1.12 ohm coil sitting in here. Single coil. Tobacco vape that I haven't been able to taste for the past 6 days. I am missing my tobacco vapes, I really am. And I've closed off the airflow control. There we go. Try that again. Ah. Don't know if you're seeing this. Have a close look. I'm going to hit the button now, but keep a close eye on how... I'm going to put it in front of the dark shut. Have a close eye on how much vapour's being produced when I hit the button, and then keep watching it as it slowly backs down. Watch this. See that? There's a puff at the beginning. It's not much. This is why I do the low wattage test with every single box mod I get my hands on. Some box mods cannot handle going lower than the rated voltage of the battery. It's a lot easier to pump out something like 5 or 6 volts from a single 18650 battery, which is only supplying 4.2 volts, because then it's a simple case of capacitance. You get a couple of little tiny capacitors in there which double up the voltage, saves up and stores the voltage, and then pumps it out as the 6 volts or 7 volts or 8 volts depending on what you do. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. It's called buck circuitry. It's a lot harder for a chip as small and confined as this to actually bring the voltage lower than the rated voltage that the battery's actually supplying. What this one is doing is the same thing that a lot of mods back at the back end of 2015's doing. When you first hit it, did I switch this off? No, I didn't. When you first hit it, you can notice, and it's for less than a second, it's less than a second, it's just that, it's the first hit that you take. I noticed it on the inhale, but it's the very first hit. For a microsecond, it's pumping the full 4.2 volts from the battery into the actual atomizer, and then it latches onto the voltage and drags it back, which means it does have full buck circuitry in there, but it's one of the older styles of doing it. So for that instant of hitting the button, you're getting the full voltage from the battery, in this case 4.2 volts, because it's a freshly charged battery, going into your tank. So if you do buy this mod, because they are starting to sell this mod separate, you'll notice it on the inhale, your vape will be for a split second a little bit warmer than you're used to, and then it will go back down to what you're used to. But there we go, 12.5 watts, and it's trying to draw 3.7 volts, and this is a freshly charged battery at 4.2 volts. See, I can notice it. I can notice it on the inhale because it's a mouth to lung tank. I can notice it a lot more. That split second, it's not even a full second, it's like half a second or a quarter of a second. The vape's a little bit warmer than I'm used to because it's the full 4.2 going into the coil. And then the buck circuitry kicks in and drags it back. Does it mean that it's not doing wattage correctly? Technically, no, it doesn't. It just means it's using one of the older ways of dragging the voltage back down. They probably done it to basically save costs, so they can actually sell the whole kit at a reasonable price. So we've done that. We're going to head back down to the table again, and we're going to have a look at this little thing in temp control to see how it performs. Once I focus the damn camera and focus, thank you. So, as always, we're going to pop on the Unity dripper, which is this little fella here. One, two, three. We're going to go into wattage mode, temp control for nickel. We're going to set this, and I've went past it. We're going to set it for 420 Fahrenheit. 2 clicks, by the way, you can see it blinking down there. 2 clicks jumps you onto the wattage. I'm going to bump the wattage. Oh well, I went way past that. I'm going to bump the wattage to 30 watts, which is what I normally set these for. I'm going to pull that off. Hold on, I need to reset the atomizer. Check atomizer. Yes, new coil. Then I'm going to head back in. Lock the atomizer to its setting and we're good to go. So, top down, there's already a dod of cotton in here. I must have been testing out something earlier on. Hold on, pull this out. So for all the new people to the channel that have just subscribed this week, normally when I do temp control tests, I do 2 temp control tests. This is the dry burn cotton test. I set this for 420 Fahrenheit, which is kind of the burn point of cotton, and we see how well the cotton stood up. If it pops into a burst of flames, it means there might be something dodgy going on with the temp control. If it doesn't and it only singes the cotton, to me that's a pass. But I also do a second test where I basically vape on the thing and try and get a dry hit out of it. That way all temp control devices have got a chance of passing at least one of the tests that I do. At least one of them. Right, I'm going to pop this dod of cotton in here like that. Feed it through. Snip, snip. 420 Fahrenheit, as you can see, it's locked in. 30 watts, nickel, and first hit. Wow, it's regulating it straight away. That was actually quite quick. Second hit. Look at that. Immediately regulating it down. This is a pretty damn good temp control chip they've got in here. Third hit. Let it go and see what kind of state the cotton's in. It's white. It's literally white. Hold on, I'm going to back this off. This is a very impressive temp control they've got sitting in here. Let's drag this back. Exposure off. Drag that up so it's not blanched out. You seen that, folks? It is literally white. There isn't even any singeing on here. Now that's either a sign that they've got a very good temp control chip sitting inside that box mod, or the temp control is far too limiting and it won't work when you vape on it. So this is why I do the second test, which is the real world test. I'm going to hack back this cotton a little bit more, and then what we're going to do is pop that cotton in there. Pop that in there, and we'll put a little bit of e-liquid onto that coil. Just like that. Give it a quick fire. And we're back up top again. So 0.13 ohm coil in here. It's all locked in. 300 watts, 420 Fahrenheit, and we're off. Have I got this lined up? Yes, I do. Okay, let's try it out. They're a little bit conservative in this one, because that's a rather cooler vape for 420 Fahrenheit. That's probably why it passed the dry burn test, folks. They're a little bit conservative in their temp control. Oh, it's kicking out a bit more. Now it's not doing anything. It couldn't have kicked in that quick. See, the cotton's still wet. I'm thinking this is suffering from the same problem the SMY suffered from yesterday. They're a little bit too conservative is the word maybe, when it comes to temp control. So they're playing it strictly on the safe side. The minute there's even the first sign of the coil going dry, it doesn't back the power off, it basically just switches the power off altogether. Let's keep trying it though. Here we go. Now it's working. Here we go. It must be going dry now, surely. Yeah, it is. It's starting to go now. Gonna keep pulling on this to see if I got a dry hit, folks. I seriously doubt it, because this is a very, very conservative temp control chip sitting in here. It's starting to go down already. There it goes. I can feel it. I can't actually taste it. I'm just judging it on the sweetness that I'm getting from the flavour, and the sweetness is in the process of basically diving off the edge of a cliff. Yeah, the cotton's going dry. This has got, well, look at that. Just a little bit of singeing on the cotton. There's where the coil was sitting right there. Little bit of singeing, but not a lot. It's got a very conservative temp control chip in here. It does mean it's a little bit more finicky. There's a technical term. It does mean it's a little bit more finicky than other temp control chips out there, but I mean, I've been using this again on sub-ohm tanks with nickel 200 coils, and I've never had a dry hit from this. But like the SMY that I reviewed yesterday, it takes a little while, maybe the first 5 or 6 pulls, for the chip in this to actually start to lock on to whatever coil you've got going in here. Once it's locked on and once it starts firing correctly, that's it. It just keeps going until your tank or your dripper runs dry. So technically, in my eyes, it does actually pass the temp control test. It's just a little bit pernickety than most of the other ones out there. So we've had a look at the Livepor mod itself. Let's have a look at the rather interesting tank by heading down back to the desk again. So now we're looking at the tank that actually comes with the mod. On first inspection, it looks just like another ordinary everyday sub-ohm tank, and technically it is. However, these guys are including a rather interesting little ceramic coil in here as well, but we'll have a look at the tank top down first. Big-assed, chuff cap style Pyrex drip tip, but it still goes down to your standard 510, dual O-ring 510 connection. It is a top side filler, but instead of pulling up to open it, you've actually got to unscrew it, because it actually says open there with an arrow pointing. And there's your side fill hole there, as you can see. Air flows at the bottom, down there and down there, with a slightly protruding 510 pin. Wow, this camera's getting very bright because the sun's decided to pop out. Hold on. Configure video input, and I need to switch that on. There we go. So I'm going to pull that off. Then you've got your stock coil head sitting in here, and now this doesn't actually unscrew. However, is this going to pop off? It probably won't. You can double O-ring there and double O-ring there. With, if you're very careful, you can slide this glass tank section off. The top and the bottom do not unscrew. It's actually one solid unit, but you can take the glass section off to get right into the tank and clean it. I've actually managed to slide the glass section off once, and then I put it back on, and I'm too scared to take it back off again. But you can strip this thing down for easy cleaning. Let's have a look at the stock coil head option. They're rather big coils in this tank as well. Big chunky coils with massive juice intakes, as you can see. It's meshed up at the top. This is your organic cotton Is that a single parallel? No, it's not even parallel, it's just single. Yeah. Organic cotton with a single vertical coil going down. Mesh guard there to avoid a bit of spit back. That's just a stock coil basically. In the spare package, which I'm going to bust open here, you've got something a little bit different, because what we have in here is a ceramic coil. Well, ceramic wicked coil with a thin sheet of cotton on the outside, as you can see, right? So that's a ceramic wicked coil head sitting in here. But then there was the coil that was sitting in the package, which is this one, which is an even more interesting design, because here it says open. If I unscrew this, look at that. It's actually a screw on, because there's the which one's positive? I think it'll be this one. There's the positive and there's the negative, and this is actually a ceramic coil head that's replaceable on the rebuildable side. Technically it's not actually a rebuildable head though, it's a specific coil head that was built for this particular type of ceramic core. So if I pop this straight onto here, I can show you how this works, because if we look down, you're seeing that the wire is actually embedded inside the ceramic housing. So I'm going to head out of temp control, because this is basically a canthal coil sitting in here. They're saying it's canthal and tungsten, but it's mostly canthal. I'm going to head out of temp control. I'm going to go back to wattage mode. I need to unlock the ATI first, that would help. ATI unlock. And here we go. Just keep an eye on that. I might need to bump it up a little bit. Hold on. Unscrew it first. Screw it back on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, try it again. Don't know if you're seeing that. Crank up the wattage just a little bit more. Try that. There, now you're seeing it. Seeing it? If I bump down the exposure just a bit, now you're seeing it. The wire is actually trapped inside the actual ceramic housing. As you can see, there's been a couple of other coil manufacturers that have came up with this same design of actually trapping the wire inside the ceramic housing, so there's no actual wire showing, it's all built into the actual ceramic head. And the way this thing works is this. If we look down here, you've got a circle of cotton. Do you remember that little packet of cotton that I showed you that's inside this box? And these are 5 strips of pre-cut cotton that look like that. I'm actually going to pull one of these out, because these have been pre-measured and pre-cut. And what I'm going to do, blowing in this to cool it down a bit, because it was red hot a minute ago. What I'm going to do is show you how this thing actually works. I'm going to pull out the focus. We're going to get our hands on this coil head, pull out the existing cotton that's in there, because we're not going to be using it. There we go. So here's the coil head itself, or the top of the coil head at least. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, that's hot. And I've just dropped it. Really? And we're back again. So this is how you do it according to the instruction manual. You basically get this strip of cotton that's been pre-cut, and then you wrap it. Let's level this up a bit more. There we go. You wrap it around. It's the full strip that you wrap around the coil head like this. And you want to use the entire cotton strip So I'm just wrapping this round. I'm going to keep wrapping it until I get to the end, which is there. So you end up with something that looks like that, and then it's just a simple case of getting the coil head, the actual top, and then you screw it down and you end up with that. See that? Now because this is fluted, as you're screwing this on, it's squishing the cotton in, so it actually keeps the centre air hole actually open. So what we're going to do, because these are basically stock coil heads, folks, there's nothing special going on. There's a lot of other tanks out there that are using coils very similar to this. We're going to use this in the review, the rebuildable ceramic coil head, just to see how the thing performs. So we're going to juice this up. Dot of e-liquid there just to help it with its wicking all the way around. Pop this in here and juice it through the mesh, and that'll help it on its way to wicking correctly. Then we pop this coil, this is the ceramic one, we pop this coil head into here. Give it a good push, because there's a very big O-ring sitting at the base of this, so you need to give it a good push so it locks itself in. Then we put the base on, and then we fill this thing up to see how it performs. So here we go, it's a big side fill hole, so you just basically get your dripper doohickey and shove the juice straight in. Very easy to fill. They've left the fill hole in this wide open as well, so your drippy doohickeys can actually fit in there. Holds a fair bit of juice, but not too much. It's about 4 mil this thing holds. Right to there, perfect. Pop the top on, screw it in, and the drip tip, and then we head back up to the main cam and have a go in this little fella. So the Livepor mod with the IGVI V2 tank, there's a mouthful right there. Open this up, pop this on, and what we're looking at here is basically the full Livepor 80 kit. That looks actually quite snazzy, I've got to admit it. Couple of primer puffs first of all, just to let the tank settle in. There's a few bubbles popping up, I'll keep doing it. Still bubbles popping up. I think that's it. So let's crank this thing open. We'll ease this thing in down. I'm going the wrong way. We'll ease this thing in down at 35 watts first of all. It's coming out at 0.75 ohms. 35 watts. Here we go. That might be a bit too low actually. Yeah, let's crank this up, it needs more power. Crank it up to 50. Ah, there we go. Now it's performing. Nothing, I so wish I could taste this. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to go all the way up. To the full 80. Yeah, now it's getting a little, it's not a little, but it's too warm. It's way too warm at 80. Far too warm at 80. I'm bumping this down to 60. There we go, 60 watts. And as you can see, not a sign of a dry hit. Just a very, very warm vape, which my throat is still recovering from, but not a sign of a dry hit. The little technically it's not a rebuildable. You cannot make your own coils. For the coil head I've got sitting in here, you've got to buy the little ceramic coil heads from the Livepor website, or a stockist of Livepor themselves, or Yosta stockists. But it's a little ceramic head with two little legs that basically you pop in, screw them down, wrap it with cotton, and you're good to go. And as you can see on the video, you can actually dry burn the ceramic head that's in this to burn off any of the gunk. Once you leave it to cool, run it under a tap to wash the ash off. Whatever you do, do not put red hot ceramic under cold water, because you run the risk of shattering the actual ceramic. Dry burn the head, then once it's dry burned, get your mod, pop it on your windowsill for 5 or 10 minutes to let the ceramic cool down, and then run it under a tap to wash off any of the ash. And you've basically got a brand new head that all you need to do is wrap more cotton round. But I am rather impressed with this tank. This tank with the stock heads, there was a couple of extra stock coil heads bumped in, and because I've had this for a month, practically speaking a month now, I've actually ran quite a number of tankfuls with the stock ceramic head that's non-replaceable and the stock cotton head, right, the stock coil heads. Flavour wise, you would expect if you get your hands on this, you would expect this to have the same flavour as something like, it comes pretty damn close to the Crown, but not quite Crown level. Something like your Anakin iSubs, your Anakin iSub Apex tanks, something like your Sense Heracles, your Sense Cyclone, those middle range subohm tanks. The stock coil heads in this perform a lot like those, but with the ceramic head in here, the one that you can replace the cotton, because the wire is actually embedded inside the ceramic housing itself, none of the wire is actually coming into contact with the e-liquid, and as you've seen on the video, the glow is even. It evenly spreads from the inside out to the top and bottom of the coil. With the ceramic partial rebuildable head in this, it's actually given better flavour. Because when I was trying this thing out with this coil head, that particular coil head was actually managing to give out flavour as good as the Crown. As good as the Crown. The Crown actually beat that coil head with one particular flavour profile, and that was high-end tropical fruits. But when it came to bakeries, tobaccos, custards, creams, mid-range berry fruits, the little partial ceramic rebuild coil head that you get with this pack, they've done a good job with it. A really good job, because the flavour out of this was absolutely phenomenal. I can't taste anything right now because I'm in the middle of a raging cold with Vapor's tongue, but when I was testing this thing out a couple of weeks ago, I was impressed. I was very impressed. And it's a damn nice little tank. It's a bit loud in the inhale for lung hitters, you could probably hear it in the mic. It's a very noisy tank, but considering the flavour that you're getting from this, the noise is worth it, to be honest. And there we go, folks. That was a review of the Yosta Livepor 80 variable temp control kit. I'm not classing it as a starter kit because it's a little bit more advanced for new vapors out there to handle. It's more of a normal kit. It's not a starter kit. Big thanks to Yosta for sending it over. Sorry it took so long to put the review up because there's been so many reviews before it. We'll have a quick look at the Yosta site. I don't think Yosta themselves are selling this, but we'll have a quick look at it. No, they're not. So, quick Google search. Let's have a look here. Yosta Livepor 80 US. We'll have a look at the United States websites first. A website that I recognise, that would help. Da, da, da. There is a lot of Alibaba sites selling this. I am not coming up with an actual vaping website, which means that this is still to be picked up. It's still to be picked up by a lot of the retailers out there. We'll have a quick look at the top one. This is, I think this is Yosta's own trading store on Alibaba. Yosta Livepor 80 watt TC box mod kit, Shenzhen Green Vape Technology Limited, and they are looking at, according to this, now this is wholesale. Let's see if I can see a single price, because these are all wholesale by the looks of it, because there's 5 sets, 10 pieces, 5 pieces, 1 set, which is wholesale. Well, the rough price I'm looking at is somewhere around the $40 range, but that's a wholesale price, so you could probably chuck another $15 on top of that for a retail price. Call it, at an average guess, call it round about $60 US, roughly 50 or 60 US, and you get a box mod which is bloody heavy. It's a very solid lump of metal, this thing. You get a box mod, okay, the temp control's a little bit pernickety on it, right? But you get a box mod and you get a tank with a very interesting partially, it's not fully rebuildable, partially rebuildable head, where you can pop the top off and you can screw in your own cotton, basically making the cotton, making the actual coil head last a little bit longer. I was having a quick look at the Yosta website, and if you dig around, they are actually selling the little ceramic coil heads in this, if you dig around on their website a little bit. But it's a pretty impressive little kit. I'll be honest, it's a very impressive little kit. I'm loving the box mod, because this box mod's been designed very well. The temp control's a little bit too bang on. It takes a little bit for the actual coil head to bed in. But it's this tank that I'm impressed with, especially with the partially ceramic rebuildable head that actually comes in the box. The ceramic rebuildable head that's in this tank chucks out an absolutely fantastic flavour. Fantastic flavour, which has impressed me a lot with that kit. Anyway, that was the review for the Yosta Livepor 80. Sorry if I'm sounding a little bit meh. It's because I'm in the middle of a raging cold. I'm surprised my voice has managed to hold up all the way through this review, but I have been taking sips of a rather nice lemon tea between takes of this review. Big thanks to Yosta for sending the kit on. If you're brand new to the channel, there's a subscribe button down there. Right above the subscribe button, you've got all my social media stuff going on, and above me, as always, is a link to the review that's out before this one. You've also got a link to the recorded version of the latest live show that myself and Gwen Golightly do, that's called the Late UK Vape Show, which is on every Thursday and every Sunday on the Vaping Underground live YouTube channel. And next to that is the latest What's Up Sunday vlog that has a giveaway at the end of it, and this week's giveaway is for the Wattage Troll V2. As always, thanks for watching, and yeah, have a good one.